I want you to picture something. Um, Picture the absolute last time you had to sit through a truly excruciating presentation.
Oh, man. We've all been there, right?
Right. And just think about what made it so bad. Was it the speaker, or the material, or
Oh.
just this disastrous combination of both?
I mean, human beings can process spoken words at, what, roughly 400 words per minute?
Yeah, something like that.
But the average person only speaks at about 125 words per minute.
Which is a huge gap.
Exactly. It creates this massive cognitive gap. So every time you stand up to give a presentation, your audience has all this enormous excess brain power just sitting there,
Just idling.
right, idling, basically waiting for a reason to get distracted.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really getting into today.
Yeah, we are. Today's mission for this deep dive is unpacking a really fascinating, highly practical guide on the errors that completely kill presentations.
And we really need to give credit where it's due right up front.
Absolutely. So for you listening, I want to explicitly announce that the foundational source material we are exploring today was entirely prepared and created by Dr. Samet Tawfik.
It's just an incredible framework he put together.
It really is. He identifies these three deadly pillars of presentation failure.
Right, so to give you a quick roadmap, Dr. Tawfik breaks this down into three things. First, signs of shakiness and lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Second, the trap of arrogance. And third, what he calls scientific poverty, which is basically a complete lack of actual substance.
And the reason this matters, why you should care about this, is that whether you are pitching to a board or leading a team meeting or just trying to explain a complex idea to a client, avoiding these specific pitfalls is the ultimate shortcut.
Yeah, it's how you actually become a captivating communicator instead of, just another person talking at a screen.
So let's just unpack that first one, because the very first thing an audience notices, like before a speaker even gets into their content, is their physical and mental state.
Oh, 100%. The breakdown almost always begins internally,
Right.
long before the audience sees a single physical twitch. The source material talks about this phenomenon of overlapping thoughts.
Overlapping thoughts. What does that actually look like in the moment?
Well, the speaker just doesn't know which idea to start with, or which to end with, or what to really emphasize.
Their brain is basically buffering.
Exactly. It's an overloaded mind. And that mental chaos, it immediately leaks out to the audience.
I love how Dr. Tofik gets into the highly relatable specifics here, because instead of focusing on the presentation, the insecure speaker starts doing these really weird things.
Like fidgeting with their clothes.
Yeah. Yes, and they plunge their hands into their pockets and just start rummaging around.
It's so awkward to watch.
It is, because in their head, they are suddenly wondering, are my keys in the right pocket or the left?
Or like, exactly how much money is in my wallet right now.
Exactly. Or, wait, did I leave the water and gas receipts in my pocket from yesterday?
It's just wild that your brain goes to gas receipts when you're supposed to be talking to 50 people.
But it's a total defense mechanism.
Yeah, it is. The cognitive load simply maxes out. And so they start doing these displacement activities. But from the audience's perspective, it's just distracting.
Okay, let's unpack this next part, because this is where the source brings up the dripping tap analogy.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Right. So imagine trying to sleep, and there's just this dripping faucet.
Drip, drip, drip.
Yeah, it completely ruins your focus. And the framework compares this to verbal tics.
Like when a speaker constantly repeats filler phrases.
Uh-huh. Like saying, for example, over and over.
And asking, understand, guys, after literally every sentence.
It's so grating. The audience completely stops following the flow of information.
Right, because they just fixate on the annoying drip. It causes a total loss of concentration. Your brain starts pattern matching instead of actually listening to the words.
And there are other tells too, right? Like physical tells of insecurity.
Oh, definitely. The speaker might have unwiped sweat just sitting on their forehead.
That's uncomfortable for everyone.
It is. Or awkwardly adjusting a tie, or pushing up glasses that aren't even falling down. Head scratching is a big one too.
And what about the verbal gaps?
Oh, those are painful. Those are those huge empty silences where they're just visibly searching for the next thought.
You can just feel the oxygen leave the room when that happens.
You really can. But the most insidious one Dr. Tawfik points out in this section is the please validate me trap.
Oh, right. When they constantly ask repetitive confirmation questions.
Exactly. Like, am I wrong, guys? Or did you get this?
Which is so backwards, because they think they're being engaging.
But really, it ironically makes the audience trust them less. If the expert at the front of the room isn't confident, why should anyone else be?
Okay, so if that first section was about feeling too small in front of an audience, section 2 is about the exact opposite extreme.
Feeling way too big.
Exactly. How does overcompensation ruin a presentation?
This is the arrogance trap. And the source details the very first sign of this, which is the scowling savior.
The scowling savior. That sounds intense.
It is. It's when a speaker enters the room just frowning and scowling.
Like they're mad to even be there.
Right. They act as if they're doing the audience this massive, completely unappreciated favor by tearing themselves away from their highly important schedule.
Yeah, just to grace you with their presence. And then comes the endless bragging.
Oh, the monologue about themselves?
Right. The speaker who talks endlessly about their world travels, their flawless experiences, their vast background.
Making it entirely about their ego rather than the audience's learning?
Wait, I want to push back on this for a second, though.
Sure, go for it.
Shouldn't a speaker establish their credentials? I mean, if I'm listening to an expert, I want to know they've been around the block. Where is the line between authority and arrogance?
What's fascinating here is how the source material clarifies that exact stance. Authority builds the audience up. Arrogance tears them down.
Ooh, that's a good distinction.
Right. An arrogant speaker explicitly attacks others. They might actually tell the audience that their scientific background is, quote, too weak to understand the concepts.
Whoa, they just insult the room to their faces.
Yeah. Or they insult absent scientists, like claiming a respected scientist just read a few words and doesn't know anything.
That is just blatant disrespect.
It is, and it causes massive alienation and audience resentment. The audience just mentally checks out, or worse, they become actively hostile.
Because no one wants to sit there and be talked down to.
Exactly. You're weaponizing that excess brain power against yourself again, just in a different way.
So we've talked about nervous body language, and we've talked about massive egos.
Yep.
But what happens when you strip all that away and look at the actual words being spoken?
This brings us to the final pillar, the content void.
The content void, which Dr. Tawfik describes as scientific poverty, right?
Yes, scientific poverty and professional incompetence. The source describes this scenario where it's like the speaker has metaphorically thrown all their books in the trash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're scientifically bankrupt, but they're still forced to give a presentation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the source uses this amazing imagery that I want to visualize for you listening.
The empty air bubbles.
Yes, the empty air bubbles analogy. Because the speaker is just babbling to kill time, the audience looks at this blank, empty screen and sees nothing but scattered air bubbles.
It's floating away.
Exactly. There's absolutely no substance to grab onto. If you try to grab one of those points, it just pops.
It's like they're just using 20 words to say something that should take 3 words, just to fill the silence.
They'll literally read the title of the slide and then just rephrase it 3 different ways without adding any new data.
And that leads to the ultimate tell of a content void, which the source points out is the slang crutch.
The slang crutch, using street slang instead of professional terms.
Right. They use marketplace slang instead of proper professional or scientific terminology.
Because they don't actually know the right words.
Exactly. Because they lack a true grasp of the field's vocabulary, they default to informal chatter.
Which instantly proves to the audience that they lack adequate knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge difference between simplifying a complex topic because you understand it deeply.
Right, like the Feynman technique.
Exactly. There's a difference between that and using slang to mask the fact that you just don't know what you're talking about. The audience spots that fake authority instantly.
So if we synthesize all of this for you listening, to be a great speaker, you basically must avoid this unholy trinity of presentation killers.
The big 3.
Right. The fidgeting insecurity that distracts, the scowling arrogance that alienates, and the babbling emptiness that wastes everyone's time.
It's a lot to guard against, but just being aware of it is half the battle.
It really is. And I wanted to explicitly remind you one final time that this masterful breakdown of presentation pitfalls was entirely sourced from and prepared by Dr. Samad Tawfik.
We owe him a huge thank you for providing such an incredible framework. It's so actionable.
Truly. But before we wrap up, let's leave the listener with something to chew on.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it reveals a really profound truth about audiences.
What's that?
Well, audiences aren't just passive listeners. They are highly empathetic, hyper-observant lie detectors.
Oh, I love that.
They feel your panic, they resent your ego, and they immediately spot your bluff.
So they aren't just blank slates waiting for your slides.
Not at all. The next time you step up to present, remember that the audience is acting as a mirror. They are just reflecting your internal state back at you.
Wow.
Yeah. If you want them to feel secure, respected, and enriched, you have to cultivate those exact qualities within yourself before you ever open your mouth.
That is such a powerful way to look at it. You have to fix the internal state before you can fix the presentation.
Exactly. Don't be the dripping tap and leave the gas receipts at home.
Good advice. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take these insights into your next big meeting, and we will catch you next time.